Hi guys, welcome to ANIMEized. This is the English translated version of the novel throneofseal. The novel differs slightly from the Chinese animation or donghua. If you want more of these videos, please smash the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Enjoy and have a blessed day.
Yating pointed her staff forward. Golden light threads, like silk, floated out, wrapping around the green light sphere sent flying by Holy Guard number 12, binding it within. However, the struggling power of the green light sphere was unexpectedly strong, several times almost breaking free from the golden threads entwined around it, in order to completely restrain it. Long HaoChen directly lifted his hand and pressed it against Yating's back, using his own spiritual power to enhance Yating, finally stabilizing the confinement of the green light sphere. The subsequent process became simpler. Unable to escape into the swamp, the heavily injured giant snake was attacked with the green light sphere, ultimately being beaten to death. Cai Er did not make a move again, however, she only held the massive death scythe, and even her companions dared not approach her, as no one doubted its ability to cut anything in half. Cai Er herself seemed a bit dazed, slowly looking up at Long HaoChen in the sky. If Long HaoChen could carefully observe her expression at this moment, he would notice that, deep within Cai Er's eyes, some initially guarded emotions were quietly melting away. Images can perhaps be fabricated, but the truth cannot be falsified. If it weren't for Long HaoChen's collision, she would have been the one to bear the direct attack of the giant snake. When Long HaoChen pushed her away, there was no hesitation at all, not even a determined expression. Cai Er, with her keen perception, now also being a god's favored one, clearly saw that, at the moment when Long HaoChen pushed her away from the giant snake into the air, his first reaction was to turn and look back at her. His expression was calm, as if he had just done something completely ordinary. And when he saw that he had not been entangled by the giant snake, a slight expression of relief finally appeared in his eyes. If it weren't for being a god's favored one, Cai Er would not have been able to see this. But now that she did, some barriers within her began to melt away. There was a bit more belief in what Long HaoChen had said before. It must be said the giant snake's vitality is extremely tenacious, being beaten by everyone for about a quarter of an hour. Only then did it completely lose its life on its body. There seems to be no absolute fatal weakness, and when it truly died, it was almost dismembered. Long HaoChen and Yating have already landed on the ground, and he looked at Cai Er with some surprise. Cai Er willing to take action, this is already a development in the right direction. Long HaoChen gestured a thumbs up to Cai Er, then walked to the front of the giant snake. Do any of you recognize this magical beast? Long HaoChen asked his companions around him. The expressions of everyone were somewhat puzzled, seeing such a giant snake magical beast for the first time. Yuan pondered and said, "This should be a 9th level magical beast, equivalent to our human 8th rank professionals. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so difficult to deal with. However, it doesn't seem to have many skills, except for spitting out that light ball. The rest is just a robust body. Judging by its appearance, it seems that its main attack method is to attack directly with its body. Fortunately, it encountered us." HaoYue frowned and said, "We are having such a difficult time dealing with it. No wonder this place is called the Domain of Death. If it encounters a lone traveler, it would probably swallow them in one bite. Just don't know what kind of magical beast this is. It's called the Forest Serpent, the largest serpent magical beast on the continent. The most powerful Forest Serpent King is a 10th level magical beast. They have sturdy bodies. They prefer to live in swamps, not poisonous, but with extremely strong aggressiveness. They are adept at devouring enemies. And that green light ball should be the magic core it cultivated into an inner elixir." Speaking was Holy Guard number 12. His voice was deep and powerful, with a metallic clang. However, it only gave a simple introduction to the Forest Serpent and then fell silent. Long HaoChen looked at the elixir in Yating's hand, and saw a fist-sized emerald green crystal, but the surface seemed very soft. Inside, there was a faint green light shining. "Holy Guard number 12, what is the use of this elixir?" Long HaoChen asked. Holy Guard number 12 respectfully said, "Reporting to the Master, the Forest Serpent elixir can improve human physique, greatly enhance external spiritual power. It is a rare and valuable item. With this elixir, the swamp gas here should no longer erode us. Also, the Forest Serpent gallbladder is also a great tonic, and can greatly enhance external spiritual power. It is best to take it together with the elixir. This way, internal and external cultivation is extremely beneficial for the body. I seem to have seen such a formula in an ancient book." Lin Xin suddenly said, his eyes instantly became excited. "That's right, I remembered it. It's the Forest Serpent, combining its elixir and gallbladder, adding 9 petals of ink chrysanthemum, 3 leaves of ice fairy fruit, and other medicinal herbs. Can be refined into the Forest Serpent body refining elixir. Its effects include consolidating the foundation and cultivating the essence, expelling impurities from the body, increasing lifespan, and enhancing external spiritual power. Compared to the previous ones, from the perspective of an alchemist, I think its effect of enhancing external spiritual power is secondary. Everyone is intelligent. Lin Xin's simple description immediately made them understand a lot. Regardless of any professional, during the continuous cultivation process, the body will be nourished by spiritual power. But each person's body condition is different. Spiritual power can only nourish the body, but it cannot completely nurture the body. With the improvement of cultivation, the resilience of the body will increase, but at the same time, impurities will also accumulate in the body. Only when reaching the 9th rank will spiritual power feed back to the self. Gradually refining these impurities, thus, the lifespan of a 9th rank expert can far exceed that of an ordinary person. If this forest serpent body refining elixir can effectively remove impurities from the body and play a role in consolidating the foundation and cultivating the essence, then, without a doubt, it will undoubtedly significantly increase the practitioner's own cultivation potential. This is obviously much more significant than directly enhancing external spiritual power. Therefore, after listening to Lin Xin's words, everyone's eyes were filled with joy. HaoYue said, "Since this elixir has such effects, why haven't we heard about it before?" Lin Xin shrugged and said, "Because magical beasts like the forest serpent should have long been extinct in the records. Even the method of refining the forest serpent body refining elixir, I found it in a precious ancient book." "It's not strange if you haven't heard of it," Long HaoChen said. "Do you remember the specific method of taking the forest serpent body refining elixir and the quantity needed to achieve the effect?" Lin Xin thought for a moment and said, "Basically, using the inner elixir and gallbladder of an ordinary forest serpent, you can refine 8 to 12 forest serpent body refining elixirs. To achieve the effect of purging impurities throughout the body, at least 8 must be taken. Gradually refining the medicinal effects. The elixir's refinement is not too difficult. The key is that the materials are hard to find. We are really lucky this time. Of course, if we could kill a forest serpent king, it would be different. The forest serpent king's elixir and gallbladder can be refined into forest serpent body refining elixirs, and only 2 are enough for one person to use. Also, the number of elixirs that can be refined from its elixir and gallbladder is much more than an ordinary forest serpent's. After completely purifying impurities and consolidating the foundation with the forest serpent body refining elixir, it's equivalent to being escorted into the 8th rank or higher, making it much easier to break through the 9th rank bottleneck than for ordinary professionals." Cai Er gave him a glance and said, "Brother Medicinal Pills, are you not feeling well? The forest serpent king is a 10th level magical beast, equivalent to our 9th rank experts. Dealing with an ordinary forest serpent is already challenging, let alone the forest serpent king. You better pray that we don't encounter it." Lin Xin shrugged and said, "I was just saying it casually," Long HaoChen said. "Lin Xin, you're responsible for preserving it. Let's continue forward, see if we can encounter more forest serpents. But everyone needs to be careful. The forest serpent has a strong ability to conceal its presence in the swamp, and I need to be within 3 meters of them to detect their presence." The harvest brought by the forest serpent undoubtedly lifted the spirits of everyone. And if they could hunt enough forest serpents, even if they couldn't complete the task of hunting the snake demon this time, it would still be worth it. As the saying goes, the greater the danger, the greater the opportunity. Isn't this dark swamp called the domain of death like that? Long HaoChen didn't immediately lead the group forward, but stopped on the frozen ground beneath their feet to rest. Lin Xin stored the forest serpent gallbladder in a pouch emitting a gentle spiritual power fluctuation, while the forest serpent's elixir was hung on his chest in a net-like pouch. With the help of this elixir, the surrounding swamp gas and poisonous mist did indeed disperse on their own, not approaching their direction. This is the innate ability of the forest serpent, but it benefited them, however. The effect of a single forest serpent elixir is ultimately limited, and it can only disperse the poisonous mist in a radius of about 30 meters, not as effective as the ice mist cast by Holy Guard number 11. The reason Long HaoChen ordered a rest was mainly to allow Holy Guard number 11 to rest and recover spiritual power. In the previous actions, it can be said, Holy Guard number 11 played a crucial role. Without him, the group might not have been able to deal with the forest serpent. Moreover, in this swamp, Holy Guard number 11's effectiveness has noticeably increased. After resting for about half an hour, the group continued on their way, with the forest serpent elixir dispersing the poisonous mist. Holy Guard number 11's spiritual power was naturally saved, only needing to solidify the ground beneath his feet. HaoYue also summoned his mount, the Evil-Eyed Commander, a rare spiritual attribute magical beast, with strong perception, and with evolution, it gained a new ability, enhanced mental perception. He directly applied this magic to Long HaoChen, doubling Long HaoChen's already strong perception. As they advanced further into the swamp, the path became more rugged, and the swamp lizards they had encountered before appeared again a few times. These common 4 or 5 level magical beasts were not much of a threat to the group. However, the group's forward speed continued to decrease. This was because the number of plants in the swamp increased, and Long HaoChen's radiant edge almost had to be constantly used to cut through. In comparison, Radiant Edge's cost-effectiveness was much higher than him of the Goddess of Light at this time, although him of the Goddess of Light was powerful, but similarly its consumption of spiritual power was also substantial. Using it to cut through vines and clear the path was like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. After advancing for another 15 minutes or so, the number of plants ahead suddenly became sparse. And as they continued forward, the swamp even became open. Long HaoChen stopped, his brow furrowed. The situation in front of him was clearly abnormal. Having been to Dream Paradise, his understanding of nature was not extensive, but he understood that plants are living beings. The plants that could survive in this swamp had clearly adapted to the environment. Yet, with no change in the swamp beneath their feet and the poisonous mist in the air, the once dense swamp vegetation suddenly decreased. This could only mean one thing, that there was something in this open space threatening the growth of these plants. Seeing Long HaoChen stop, the others immediately gathered their formation closer. Focusing their attention outward, Cai Er, with some curiosity, approached Long HaoChen and asked, "Why did we stop?" Long HaoChen looked at her with some surprise these days. As long as he didn't initiate conversation with her, she generally wouldn't speak first. However, when he met Cai Er's gaze at this moment, he was surprised to find Cai Er's eyes had softened considerably. Long HaoChen knew her too well. Even the slightest change did not escape his notice. He thought to himself, could it be that the previous attack triggered signs of her memory returning? What he didn't expect was Cai Er's change did not stem from memory recovery but from the care and protection he unintentionally revealed. Something's not right. The environmental changes here are too significant. There must be something threatening the existence of swamp plants. While talking with Cai Er, Long HaoChen expanded his perception as much as possible, feeling areas beyond his line of sight. It seems there are more plants ahead. Everyone, be cautious. Increase vigilance. While saying this, Long HaoChen directly retracted the brilliant holy shield, the ripple of light into his left hand, golden light shining on his right hand, and the hymn of the goddess of light had been released. The brilliant holy shield was heavily damaged when dealing with the forest serpent elixir. It was already severely damaged. So using the dual sword incarnation Retribution Knight would be more effective. Continuing forward for about 100 meters, as expected from Long HaoChen's perception, plants began to appear again ahead. But unlike the plants they encountered earlier, there were no vines, but instead large-looking flowers. These flowers grew strangely, each plant spaced at least 5 meters apart, creating a sparse arrangement. So they appeared quite sparse. The large leaves were slightly curled, and the root stems, reaching about 5 meters high, extended upwards, with a diameter of at least a foot. The most peculiar aspect was their tops, which were enormous flower buds. The thickest part probably required 2 people to embrace. The flower buds were tightly closed, and looking around, there wasn't a single giant flower in bloom within the line of sight. Their massive bodies swayed slightly in the swamp gas and mist. At this point, everyone felt the same way in their hearts, that it was quiet. Yes, it was too quiet, not a single sound. There was only this large flower bud among the plants, and even though their bodies swayed slightly, there was no sound at all. During their previous progress they hadn't encountered any monster attacks. When a place is too quiet, it gives a feeling of complete silence. At this moment, Long HaoChen and the others felt exactly that. "You all stay here, HaoYue, take my place, I'll go ahead and take a look," Long HaoChen said in a deep voice. Faced with such a strange situation, he decided to check it out himself first. There was definitely something wrong with these large flowers. It just hadn't manifested yet, for spirit wings quietly spread behind him, and the soft flame of the holy light began to rise on Long HaoChen's body. At this moment, he couldn't help but think of Bai Xiaomo during the Demon Hunting Squad selection tournament. Plants aren't necessarily safe. Bai Xiaomo caused Yang Wenjiao a lot of trouble by using plants back then. Taking a step forward, Long HaoChen was already 10 meters away, his gaze instantly becoming sharp. At this point, he had approached within 20 meters of those large flowers. An instinctive sense of crisis suddenly arose. However, he didn't stop, but instead accelerated his pace, heading straight towards the foremost large flower. Just as he approached, within 5 meters of the large flower, it happened. A sudden change occurred. The nearest large flower to Long HaoChen suddenly shook, then its thick roots suddenly extended downwards, and the enormous flower bud directly smashed towards Long HaoChen. Accompanied by a strange roar, the enormous flower bud suddenly opened in 3 sections, resembling a massive pair of rabbit lips, and it lunged towards Long HaoChen. The open flower bud was indeed enormous, more than enough to swallow Long HaoChen whole without any problem. Moreover, when the flower bud opened, it revealed its monstrous appearance. 3 large petals were blood red, covered with barbed teeth, the tips of which were sharp and slightly curved, and where they connected to the petals, they were much thicker, like sharp hooks. Without a doubt, once caught by this terrifying big mouth, it wouldn't be easy to break free. What was even more chilling was that, after the large flower opened, a monstrous ghost face appeared in the center. The strange roar erupted from the terrifying ghost face. Long HaoChen had long been prepared for contingencies, and when the large flower smashed down towards him, he had already moved. Amidst the dragon's roar, the twin swords danced, and the whole person soared into the sky with astonishing spiral speed. It was the ascending dragon strike. Dazzling golden light enveloped Long HaoChen's body, like a golden dragon soaring into the sky, amidst the rich radiance of the holy light. Fiercely colliding with the large flower. Puff! Dark red liquid splattered in all directions. Long HaoChen, in the air, created a streak of golden light, drawing a parabola as he fell back towards his companions. Just as he collided with this terrifying large flower, several other large flowers suddenly lunged at him, and their thick roots unexpectedly extended instantaneously, filling the air with miserable roars. These large flowers were quite powerful. As it could be seen, they were completely unafraid of the holy light on Long HaoChen. The large flower that collided head-on with Long HaoChen's ascending dragon strike only had a few petals crushed, not completely shattered. Long HaoChen's ascending dragon strike collided with the barbed teeth on its petals, producing a strong clanging sound, and even sparks flickered. The only damaged petal resulted from the powerful attack of the hymn of the goddess of light. Spirit wings flapped, and Long HaoChen's backward speed suddenly increased, evading the attacks of several large flowers. He then landed back among his companions. The roots of these large flowers were ultimately limited in length, unable to reach Long HaoChen, but they continued to emit angry roars in his direction. The swinging of all the large flowers also intensified, and a burst of pink mist began to emanate from these large flowers, drifting towards Long HaoChen and his companions. "Be careful," Long HaoChen uttered in a low voice. There was no need for him to instruct, as a layer of holy light shield had already unfolded. At the same time, Holy Guard number 11 once again emitted the cold air that could condense moisture in the mist. However, surprisingly, these pink mists were completely unaffected by the cold air, and they continued drifting towards them, quickly adhering to the holy light shield. In a series of intense puffs, the holy light shield lasted for less than 3 seconds before turning into golden light. Everything happened so quickly that, when Long HaoChen quickly cast another holy light shield, a trace of pink mist still drifted in. Long HaoChen's holy light shield was different from HaoYue's, as his spiritual power was purer than HaoYue's, so his resistance was stronger. Lin Xin quickly sprayed a streak of his heart flame from his hand, sweeping towards the pink mist. However, strangely, the pink mist seemed completely unaffected by the high temperature of the heart flame, and, under the impact of the flames, it quickly dispersed, drifting to the side. "Hold your breath," Long HaoChen shouted at Cai Er. Because the mist was drifting towards her, Cai Er's reaction was quick. But she still inhaled a small amount of the pink mist, and the strong sweet scent made Cai Er dazed, and her expression quickly became rigid. Long HaoChen had already released another layer of holy light shield to resist the invasion of the terrifying pink mist. He anxiously looked at Cai Er. Cai Er stared blankly ahead, then took slow steps, moving towards the direction of those terrifying large flowers. Her consciousness seemed completely clouded. Wang Yuan quickly grabbed her. Lin Xin's reaction was also quick. He swiftly took out a bottle of blue liquid, drank from it, then sprayed it forcefully on Cai Er's face. Cai Er shivered and suddenly regained awareness, realizing what had just happened. "What happened to me just now?" Looking at the confused Cai Er, everyone couldn't help but be astonished. Although Cai Er's current actual combat power is not strong, she is still a 6th-rank powerhouse. As a 6th-rank summoner, she was actually controlled by a small wisp of poisonous mist, indicating how powerful this pink poisonous mist is. No wonder there is no vegetation around. "Let's retreat," Long HaoChen decisively said. "These pink poisonous mists are currently something they cannot deal with at all. There are unknown quantities of these large flowers hidden in the swampy poisonous mist, and they don't know how long this mist will persist. Although his spiritual power can support the holy light shield for a long time, but if he launches an attack, there's no guarantee that poisonous mist won't leak in. Naturally, he can't take the risk. Let's withdraw from the range of these large flower attacks first." Just then, suddenly, Long HaoChen felt a movement in his heart. An urgent voice echoed in his heart. "Wait a moment." Long HaoChen stopped the companions who were preparing to withdraw. His eyes flashed purple, and the purple runes of the 9 lines on his forehead appeared again. At the same time, he also expanded the range of his holy light shield much larger. At least one holy light shield spell from Long HaoChen can support for 10 seconds in this poisonous mist, showing the difference in spiritual power. A huge figure appeared before everyone in the shining purple light. It was HaoYue. As soon as HaoYue appeared, the 4 big heads roared in excitement. No, it shouldn't be called a roar, but rather cheers. Long HaoChen didn't even have time to stop it. It had already rushed out of the holy light shield. The 4 big heads were lifted high, opening their mouths wide to inhale the pink poisonous mist. At this moment, HaoYue was like a whale sucking in water, and Shaoqing even added a levitation spell to itself, preventing its massive body from sinking into the swamp. All 4 heads opened their mouths to the maximum extent, greedily absorbing the pink mist in the air. Long HaoChen and the others were behind HaoYue, benefiting from HaoYue's powerful suction. The mist on their side naturally diminished. "What is HaoYue doing?" Everyone stared in astonishment at HaoYue continuously devouring the poisonous mist, completely unable to understand. Long HaoChen smiled bitterly and said, "I don't know either. It's doing it voluntarily. It seems like these poisonous mists are highly beneficial to it. Lin Xin, do you remember the sphere we bought at the auction? Back then, HaoYue was just as eager as it is now, and then it began to evolve. It seems that this poisonous mist is a great supplement for it, Lin Xin said. I've never seen a magical beast like HaoYue. Boss, why do I feel like HaoYue's strength is not inferior to yours now? Long HaoChen said. It's very possible. I don't even know HaoYue's limits. Let's wait and see. HaoYue shouldn't do anything without certainty. Last time, when surrounded by the anti-demon hunting squad, HaoYue displayed extremely powerful strength. Even Ah Bao was held back by it for a long time. It can be said that, if it weren't for HaoYue's help, at that time, Long HaoChen wouldn't have been able to protect Cai Er and complete all the inheritance absorptions of the Death God. Awakening, Cai Er's situation would have been even worse than it is now. At that time, Long HaoChen saw the tremendous strength of HaoYue now, not to mention, just the citywide enveloping chaos element separation with 4 attributes was incredibly stunning. Moreover, since the last time everyone closed off in the holy city, HaoYue has been silently practicing. The protuberance on its neck has already grown as long as the other heads. Undoubtedly, it is likely to grow its 5th head. When that time comes, what level of magical beast will HaoYue be then? Long HaoChen doesn't know either, but in his heart, he already has some guesses about HaoYue. His good companion is not simple at all. HaoYue's devouring speed is constantly increasing. And the massive body, over 10 meters in length, is even slightly tilting upward, and it can be clearly seen that a layer of pink gloss is gradually covering HaoYue's scales, and its body also seems to be slightly expanding. A rich spiritual power fluctuation continuously spreads from its body. Above its foreheads, the color of their eyes change from their respective attributes to the same shade of purple. Long HaoChen and HaoYue are bound by a blood covenant, so his sensations are the most apparent, and he can clearly feel that, at this moment, it seems like HaoYue is frenziedly absorbing a kind of energy, causing his spiritual power to accelerate. In just a short while, his spiritual power increased by as much as 50 points. Long HaoChen and HaoYue are inherently connected, so any breakthrough by one has a significant impact on the other. Last time, after Long HaoChen rescued Cai Er and broke through the 7th rank, he felt that HaoYue was about to break through. However, this breakthrough has been suppressed by HaoYue. Long HaoChen understands that it's because of his neglect. He acknowledges that it's his fault. Cai Er lost her memory, and he was too preoccupied to pay attention to HaoYue. Moreover, HaoYue's evolution might take it back to its original world, requiring his protection. HaoYue might be avoiding evolution, in consideration that Long HaoChen would be distracted. Recently, he realized he neglected this good companion. Looking at HaoYue with guilt, Long HaoChen resolves to always consider HaoYue, regardless of its origin or future form. HaoYue will always be his brother. Just like HaoYue has always protected him, he vows to protect HaoYue whenever needed. The pink mist in the air gradually fades, as HaoYue devours it with excitement. HaoYue roars with excitement, and its devouring speed increases. Its stomach bulges, and its scales become vibrant pink. Master, this is the devil-devouring flower, a terrifying plant-type magical beast. Each devil-devouring flower is equivalent to a regular 6th-level magical beast. They like to live in groups, preying on plants, animals, or even humans. The most domineering aspect of the devil-devouring flower is its poisonous mist, called the bewildering poison mist. Even the strongest experts, once entrapped by the poisonous mist, would walk into the midst of the devil-devouring flower and be devoured. In our era long ago, there was an operation to completely eradicate the devil-devouring flower, but surprisingly, remnants of it still exist today. I just recognized it when I saw the pink mist. Speaking was Holy Guard number 12. Undoubtedly, these 2 holy guards with souls of strong ones are well informed. This time, entering the dark swamp, their roles might surpass any member of the martial level number 64 demon hunting squad. Long HaoChen nodded at Holy Guard number 12. A thought crossed his mind. Since the assistance of the Holy Guard is significant, why not? He made up his mind. It seems that, with the substantial help of the Holy Guard, he might. He contemplated, and he had made up his mind.